Greek nouns, the third declension, consonant stems. There are 3 kinds of nouns in Greek, as there are 5 kinds in Latin. For review, they're the first, or alpha declension, the second, or omicron declension, existing in both the masculine and the neuter, and the third declension, the declension we're going to focus on in this video, which can occur in any of the 3 genders, feminine, neuter, or masculine. When we focus on the third declension, we really mean that there are 3 major varieties of third declension. There are consonant stems, which we identify according to all of those rules about the alphabet, like labial, dental, nu tau, liquid, and sigmatic. There are vowel stems, 3 varieties, 2 fairly common, like iota or upsilon stems and diphthong stems, and then the very rare oi or o stems. And then the last ones are the highly irregular but worth memorizing kind. We'll make a 3rd video for those as well. The standard endings of the most regular variety of third declensions are socia essensias for the masculine and the feminine. You can substitute the rules for the neuter in the nominative and accusative of the singular and plural to remember what the neuters will be. And we'll take a look at neuters as well in this video. But socia essensias, though technically speaking a nonsense Greek word, is a helpful mnemonic for remembering exactly what the endings are, so that when you're connecting them to the stem, they can make a little more sense. And there's the other key to the third declension, the stem, or, more appropriately, the entire dictionary entry, which gives you the stem. In the third declension, the stem is the most important piece of the puzzle. This means that if we don't have the entire dictionary entry memorized, we're hamstrung when it comes to identifying the word in the wild. Don't handicap yourself. Memorize the full dictionary entry, including the placement of the accent. The stems are most important in figuring out the strangest part of the third declension, that is to say, the dative plurals. So if we can identify the stem and understand how that stem will interact with a sigma when it hits that C ending of essensias, it'll make a lot more sense. A labial stem turns into a psi. A palatal stem, like kappa or gamma, will turn into a xi. A dental stem, like delta or tau, will turn into a sigma, as will a nu. A nu tau stem drops the nu and picks up a diphthong and a sigma. A liquid generally will make a rs sound, and the final one will drop its sigma as well. We also call this sigmatic stem a contract stem. So let's take a look at the regular consonant stem, which fits those first few varieties there. Fulax, fulakos, fulaki, fulaka, fulax. Fulakes, fulakon, fulaxin, fulakas, fulakes. You'll notice that this follows all the rules that you would expect, and the sigma still behaves as it normally would when it interacts with different consonants. The same can be said for the neuter. This is the most common dental neuter in the atos variety, and soma, somatos, while its accent may be a little strange, in general follows the same rules. The nu tau stem has the strangest kind of endings and will generally lengthen. The nu turns into an upsilon and the tau drops out completely to be replaced by the sigma. So you end up with gerusin. A little strange sounding considering you wanted that nu tau sound throughout. The dative plurals in nu tau come in 4 varieties. The ace entos variety is found in aorist passive participles, so we won't see that very often until later. The on ontos, us ontos, and as ontos, though, are listed in order of how commonly they occur in the Attic literature, and you see gerusin, arcusin, and gigasin as their normal dative plural varieties. Before we get to the last kind, the sigmatic stems, we need to understand what happened in Attic Greek to a sigma that was placed between 2 vowels. That's called the intervocalic sigma. It's not intergalactic, it's just in between 2 vowels, and the fancy term for that is intervocalic. So an epsilon plus an omicron becomes an omicron upsilon. a diphthong, long by nature. An epsilon plus an epsilon, when the sigma falls out, becomes an epsilon iota. Epsilon alpha becomes eta, epsilon omega becomes omega, and an epsilon plus a double sigma, and then usually an iota, because that's the dative plural, just drops one of the sigmas. In Attic, it seems strange that they suddenly stopped pronouncing sigmas between vowels, and we're not really positive why this happened, but the intervocalic sigma and the spelling that accompanied it changed over time, and so we just have to know it in order to know Attic Greek. Here is the contract noun in its final forms, with its uncontracted forms in parentheses. You'll notice that if you've studied any of the contract verbs or contract adjectives, this tends to work the same way. We'll get to those in future videos. But xephos is normal, the nominative as it is given to us. But xephus is actually a contraction of xephesos. Xephe is a contraction of xephesi. Xephos is normal again because this is a neuter. Xephe comes from xephesa. Xephone is accented because xephesone has its accent on the epsilon because omega is long by nature. Xephesine in the dative plural just drops that second sigma, and xephe is a contraction, as in the nominative of xephesa.